In this lesson, I'll show you how to introduce a navigation controller into the iMusic app so that we can navigate from our home view to the other views that we'll be building. The focus of this chapter is about table views, but before we can start working with table views, we first need a way to navigate from our home screen. The most common way to navigate through the various screens in iOS apps is via a navigation controller. Specifically, we'll use this class called UI Navigation Controller. This controller allows us to push and pop views on and off a stack, much like a stack of papers or photos. When we push a view controller on the stack, it animates in from the right to the left, and popping one off performs the inverse animation to reveal the content below it. A navigation controller's animated behavior is a great example of how we can use subtle animations to communicate important context changes to the user. So let's modify our AppDelegate class. Now currently we are setting the main view controller as the Windows root view controller. Instead, let's wrap this in an instance of UI Navigation Controller, and then we'll make that the root view. So I'll create a new instance of UI Navigation Controller, and we'll call this one Nav Controller. And we'll use its initWithRootViewController method and pass in our main view controller as its root view. We'll then set this as the root view controller. So I'll run the app, press Command R, and we can see that we're now contained within a navigation controller. Specifically, we've got this navigation bar at the top of the screen. We can see we have a couple of problems. Our navigation bar currently doesn't have a title. Although we're undecided whether or not we'll even show the navigation bar, we probably should provide a title when we do. We can also see that our whole UI is slightly shifted down. Let's open up the main view controller's nib file and see how we can resolve that. Open the Utilities section. One of the attributes we can adjust on this view controller in its attribute settings are some simulated metrics. So for the top bar, I could select Navigation Bar. Now this doesn't actually add a navigation bar to this UI view controller, but it does give us an understanding of when it's contained in the nav controller how it might look. So by doing that, you can see the whole UI shifted down slightly. So let's select all of the components, and we'll slide those up just a little bit. That looks pretty good. Let's go back to mainViewController.m. And right after the viewDidLoad call, let's set its title property. And for now, we'll just call this iMusic. I'll run the app. So there, that looks better. Now our UI is back to where it was previously, and we have a title in our navigation bar. In this lesson, we saw how to introduce a navigation controller into our app. This is a very commonly used container view controller and provides a convenient way to navigate from screen to screen. UI Navigation Controller will play a foundational role in our navigation strategy throughout the remainder of this course.